Okay, I'm going to do problems 3 and 5 with you in the front page. We are only doing the odd numbers. So you're only doing 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. On the back page, you're only doing the even numbers, so the whole right side. If you don't listen to this message, you're going to end up doing all the problems or asking me which ones you're doing. Okay, so yesterday we did one like this, where it's 16n squared plus 0n minus 25 because it's missing that middle term. Okay, if it doesn't have one, it's 0. So when you put it in the box, you're still going to put the first term in the first box and the last term in the last box. We are still multiplying 16 times 25. How much is it? Negative 400. So I need factors of 400. Yeah, 20 times 20 is 1. 1 times 400. 2 times 200. 4 times 100. 5 times 80. 8 times 50. 10 times 40. It's a lot of them, right? But the trick here, because these two are going to go away, okay, they need to be the exact same number. They have to have the exact same numbers here and here so that you can subtract them and it gives you 0. So 20 and 20 are going to work. Okay, and they have to be differences because I need it to give me 0. So one has to be positive, one has to be negative. Positive 20 and negative 20 and. Doesn't matter where you put the positive or negative. So then you say, okay, I know this is n times n, but I need something that will give me 16 here and here. If you use 16, these numbers both cannot be divided by 16, and these both cannot be divided by 16. So we're going to have to use 4 times 4. You can also not use 2 and 8 because these cannot be divided by 8, and these two cannot be divided by 8. Okay, so it's going to have to be 4 times 4 is 16, and then you start the dividing. So what's 20 divided by 4? Positive 5. What's negative 20 divided by 4? Negative 5. And what's negative 5 times positive 5? Negative 25. That's a lot of work, right? There's an easier way. There's an easier way. So I'm going to write down those factors down here. 4n plus 5 and 4n minus 5. And I want you to look at the trick. This is called the difference, write it down, of two squares. Difference of two squares. Difference means it's being subtracted. You see that sign in the middle? It cannot be plus. It has to be a minus. That's when you can use this trick. Okay, when this is minus. And it's two squares because this one, you can take the square root of 16, and this one, you can take the square root of 25. So when that happens, then you make two sets of parentheses. You make one positive, you make one negative, and you take the square roots of them. So what's the square root of 16? 4n. 4n. What's the square root of 25? 5. 5. And that's the answer. Okay? If you don't know how to take square roots, make sure that you use the calculator. So let's go look at the calculator really quickly. So on here, you just take the square root of it. So you would do the square root second, and this button, square root of 16, enter, it's 4. And then the square root of 25, enter, is 5. Okay? If you look at the next problem, problem number 5, and you try, because this is a difference, right? But these are not squares. How do I know? Because when you put it in the calculator, the square root of 72 is not perfect, and the square root of 550 is not perfect either. Okay? So that's not the difference of two squares, but I can make it the difference of two squares if I want to. How can I make this the difference of two squares? If I divide both of them by 2. So if I take out a 2, okay, and I divide 72 by 2, what do you get? 36, p squared. If you divide 50 by 2, you get 25. Now, it's the difference of two squares because 36, the square root of 36 is 6, and the square root of 25 is 5. And if you didn't know that, you put it in the calculator. Square root of 36 is 6, and we just did the square root of 25, it's 5. So now that you know that this is the difference of two squares, what does the rule say? You make two sets of parentheses. One's positive, one's negative. Don't forget the 2 on the outside. Just bring it down. Take the square root of 36, 6p, the square root of 25, 5, and you're done. That's the answer. So go ahead and make sure that you do 1, 7, and 9, and then you can start on the back even numbers.